everyone. So we're going live with Lani. I think it's Lani Forbes today for this next author interview. Hi, Lani. Okay, we're gonna join me. It says waiting. It says connecting.
Is it working?
So, I saw it fell down, didn't it? Today.
I'm good. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you really well. Can you hear me?
Okay. Perfect. Yes.
I was in the middle of making dinner and I dropped everything. I was like, okay, it's on.
Okay. I'm so sorry about that.
Okay. I actually thought I put the wrong time in my calendar. And I was like, wait, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. I was like, wait a minute. 5 here. I got mixed up. I got so mixed up. So it's all right. It's okay. I have a smoothie to keep me company right now.
Oh, awesome.
Dinner and a smoothie. It's perfect. I'm glad you're having a nice day. Hope everyone's well and staying happy and healthy in the quarantine.
Yep. I've got a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. So my husband's currently downstairs wrangling them and trying to keep them from running upstairs. So
My sister has a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old who's turning 6 soon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're 10.
Wow.
Yeah, they've been in quarantine about a month more than we have right now.
Oh.
They're still in quarantine.
Oh my gosh. And with a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old, my heart goes out to her.
Thank you. She's trying to teach them from school and everything, so they've begun homeschooling and everything. So we're all helping them through via stuff. Care packages. We just had another one. Thank God it went through.
Oh, good. Yes.
Yes. Alrighty. We'll get to the questions for your interview. So happy to have you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So is it Lani or Lani?
It's actually Lani.
Lani, okay.
Yes.
What did you want to be as a child, and was it an author?
Ironically, I wanted to be a dentist.
Awesome.
So I ended up going a very different route. I don't know why. I liked going to the dentist. I thought that was fun, but I always did like writing. Like I said, I think even on one of my 4th grade report cards, my teacher put that Lani excels at creative writing, and I've always been writing. And so I don't know how I ended up going from dentist to teacher to writer, but I did.
You wanted to help people, and now you're offering art to people, which is still helpful.
It is still helpful, yes. And I'm still teaching as much as I can. I'm substitute teaching this year, but I'm thinking about going back to full-time teaching next year too. So we'll see.
With homeschooling, it's like you're getting a little bit of a crash course and getting back into it.
Yes.
I was homeschooled since 1st grade. Now I'm in the master's degree. I'm getting my master's in counseling.
Oh, wow. That's actually, I just started a master's in counseling, and I'm trying to decide if I need to go, because especially with all the economic chaos going on right now, my husband and I are talking about if I need to go back to teaching next year or if I can stay in my master's of counseling, because I'm so passionate about doing the counseling thing too. That's so exciting.
Thank you. I'm excited myself. I'm going into my 2nd year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I fast-tracked my entire education. So when I went into my bachelor's degree, I had to take any breaks, and I finished, instead of 4 years, I finished in 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and so then I went straight to the master's, and I've been fast-tracking that too. So I hope to finish the year and at like altogether a year and a half instead of 2 years.
Wow. Are you going to start your internship soon?
Yes, so we're looking into places to do the residency.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Thank you so much. You understand. What does the day in the life of Lani Forbes look like? It might be a little different now.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's pretty different right now with quarantine. Yeah, mostly right now it's just I've got my 6-year-old and my 4-year-old at home, so trying to keep them busy, like trying to get them out in the backyard as much as we can. Watching a lot of Frozen 2.
Yeah.
I'm not the parent that's got like the color-coded schedule that's like from this time to this time we're going to do this. And I feel like I should do that, but I think we're all just kind of adjusting. So I'm pretending this is our spring break. We're just going to kind of take it easy for a while. And then I'm thinking maybe next week we'll start getting into some of the homeschool stuff. Because luckily, I said I am a credentialed teacher. So luckily, like, I hope I can help them, but I've never taught my own kids. So we're going to see how that goes.
I bet it's going to go well for you. Because you have experience and you have a very friendly personality.
Oh, I hope so. I hope I can keep them entertained at least. So.
It was nice of Disney to release Frozen digitally. I thought that was so nice of them.
So nice. And my kids are so excited.
I got to see it myself.
Oh, yeah. It's good.
It is? Awesome. So what do you use to inspire you when you get writer's block?
My favorite thing to do when I get writer's block is to read. So I either like to read books from the genre that I like to write, or sometimes I'll go back to some of my favorites. Like I love Sarah J. Maas. So if I get really stuck, I'll just kind of go and like lose myself in her worlds for a little bit. Because something about just getting into that mindset of where you can go into another world is helpful, especially when you write fantasy. So reading other books that are similar to mine, I know some authors don't like to do that because they don't want to get like the other author's voice in their head. I like doing it because like, especially as I'm reading theirs, I'm like, I could do that. Or and so it gets me in a mood where I can write.
Yeah.
Or reading craft books. So books like, I love anything by Donald Moss. I love Story Genius by Lisa Cron. I love, I have like a huge list of books that if I get stuck, I'll go back and kind of read some of those. And then I tend to get some inspiration from those.
Oh.
Or meeting with a critique group's really helpful too. Just sometimes meeting with other writers and seeing them get excited about stuff just kind of energizes you a little bit. And so those are kind of my three go-tos. Read other fiction, read craft books, or try to meet with my other writers.
I love reading myself. I like reading too. I also like listening to music because I have playlists dedicated to each and every story, almost each and every.
Yes.
I'm pretty big on, I love listening to music, especially tying into my stories. And I love participating also in the writing groups on Twitter. The writing chats. Yes. If there's one going on, I might join. Like if I have writer's block, take a break, join, talk about my story, really get acclimated with it all over again by telling other people about it.
Yeah, it kind of like just gets you in that mindset and in that zone. I have to be like in a zone when I'm writing, and it's very hard to do that with a 6-year-old to 4-year-old right now, constantly like, Mom! But if I can, like, yeah, just getting into that zone and anything that helps me get into that zone is really helpful.
Wonderful. It's good that we know how to help ourselves get the words on paper.
Yeah, exactly. Having a game plan in place when you're struggling too, that's helpful.
Helpful, that's true. So for you, what would you say, coffee or tea?
I actually am not a big fan of either.
Yeah?
Yeah, and people are always like, oh, do you not drink those for like religious reasons or anything? And I was like, no, I just don't like coffee or tea.
What did you still drink them?
I don't know. I just don't like the taste for some reason. Like, I'm not a big fan of the flavor of coffee. Like, I can't even do like tiramisu. I just am like, but I'm trying to like tea. I've kind of been training myself to like tea, and I really like cinnamon tea or like lemon ginger. So I'm working my way up to liking tea. So.
I had chai tea lattes.
I've never tried chai tea, no.
It's very good. It's spiced. If you like cinnamon tea, you might like it. It's spiced black tea, and usually it's made from a concentrated tea blend, and it's usually very creamy, put into steamed milk.
Okay, see, I could probably try that.
I like that. Those are good. I always add sweeteners though, some sweetened condensed milk or some vanilla syrup. Delicious.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I guess I just need to keep trying things because I can like train myself to like things, but I don't know. The few times I've tried coffee, I'm like, it's so strong.
I understand. I have to add a lot of cream and sweetener.
Yeah, that would be me too.
So in your opinion, what is the best TV or movie adaptation?
So my favorite movie of all time is a book adaptation. So that kind of like goes with that, I guess. I love the movie Memoirs of a Geisha. Nice. It's a little bit older of a movie, but it is just, for some reason, it is just one of my favorite movies. And I read the book and I loved the book, but the movie, it's so beautifully done. And like, there's this line at the end where she talks about how the hope sheds each dream like leaves until there is nothing left. And I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful. It's so poetic. And I love the story. I love that it's a woman fighting the way she can against the system. And I love stories about women fighting against any kind of system. So I'm just like, yes, I'm here for it.
Just interviewed Namina, I'm trying to pronounce your name, for her book, The Gilded Ones.
So excited.
Oh, you've seen it on Twitter?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I just interviewed her earlier. She was explaining the book to me. I was like, oh my goodness. That's a woman fighting against the system. It's so fantastical. That's amazing. I love
it. I'm excited for that one. Really excited.
I want to know everything about it. My favorite movie adaptation would be The Silence of the Lambs.
Ooh, I haven't seen that one. I'm scared.
It's not even that scary to me. It's because I think that what makes a movie super scary is gore, and it doesn't have that. It's scariness comes from suspense, knowing things that are happening but not actually seeing them. And I think that's what keeps it into a thriller category, a mystery suspense thriller. Instead of being straight horror, I can't do that.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of horror and scare. I don't like, even sometimes the thriller stuff, I'm such a chicken. I get like,
I know what you mean. My mom is exactly like that. I understand completely. I can't do full horror myself. I'm not a fan.
I can't either, especially if it's like really gory. I think my friends tried to drag me to a couple of those when I was in high school, and I seriously was the kind that had nightmares, and I just was like, I can't do it.
I saw one movie, one of the Saw movies. I was scarred for life.
I saw that was one of the ones my friends dragged me to in high school, and it's still like, oh, that movie was awful.
Yeah, it was terrible. I never watched the other one.
Yeah, nope.
So would you like to tell us a little bit about what your book is about? What do you like your book?
Yeah, well, talking about women fighting against the system, that's kind of a huge theme in my book as well. So I think that's my book right back there. It's based on Aztec and Maya mythology, and I kind of jokingly pitch it as like the Hunger Games meets The Bachelor.
Nice.
But it's basically the emperor has died, and so his son's going to ascend the throne, and he has to pick a wife from one of the city-states in the empire. And so each city-state has to send one of the royal daughters, but the ones that he doesn't pick are going to end up sacrificed to the gods to bless his marriage to the one he does pick.
No, that's quite the twist to the Bachelor.
Yeah, so it's like The Bachelor, but if you don't get picked, you die. So,
unfortunately,
yes.
I love that, and that's the seventh one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So do you plan your book in advance, or do you develop as you write?
I kind of do a combination of both. I really like to, I have an idea, or I'll know my ending, I'll know where I'm going with it, but I really like to kind of see where the story leads me to get there. So I'll kind of have general ideas in mind, or I'll have general plot points kind of mapped out, but then I love to make sure that I have the emotional push in the story. So if I feel like the story's going a different direction, I'll let it go that direction and see where it goes. And I've written where I've tried to force it into a specific plot, and it lacked kind of that heart that I want really bad.
Yeah.
And then if I let it go the other way, I feel like I can always go back and put plot or structure to it once I have that heart in place. So I'm very much heart first, then structure.
What you mean? I always have to make an outline of my stories. I at least have to know, what's happening in the beginning, the middle, and towards the end. At least I have to have a gist of the idea, or else I can't move. In my head, I'm like, where's it going? What's happening? Who's doing what and why? I need to know some of the details first. But then during writing, more of the details come out eventually.
Yeah, I've kind of noticed as I'm writing, as I go into a new chapter, I kind of have an idea in my mind of okay, this is what needs to happen in this scene, or this is what needs to happen in this chapter. And then I just kind of let it go to see how it gets there. So.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean. I feel that way too.
Mm-hmm.
What does the act of writing mean to you?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
What does the act of writing itself mean to you?
It means so much to me personally. I don't know. There's a quote, I think, by Anais Nin where she talks about I couldn't live in the world that was offered to me, so I had to create my own. And it's one of my favorite quotes, and I just relate so strongly to it because writing's always been kind of a way of coping for me with with things going on in life or just difficult situations, or like when I feel like this world's really overwhelming, I like to escape and go to a different one.
Yeah, me
So,
too.
so it's, yeah, so it's a way that I escape, but it's also a way that I like to kind of process and deal with things. So if there's something going on in my real life, sometimes I like to be able to wrestle with it or process through it or ask questions and kind of wrestle with it through fiction. And I think a lot of writers do that. And it's therapeutic on one hand, but
Yeah,
it's also, I don't know, it's fun to get to pour that into a work of art. And I think that's what gives it a lot more heart, is when you feel like you're learning and growing and changing and experiencing along with the characters.
yeah, I know exactly what you mean, because when I write, I feel like I could explore different feelings that I have in different characters, different parts of my personality, and work through, certain issues, or even, yes, do the escapism basically by basically creating my own storyline, my own world, and kind of distance myself from whatever's going on in the world that is difficult to process or difficult to live through. And
Mm-hmm.
it is a coping mechanism, and it feels like an outlet, and it feels exciting. It feels like, it feels like something to look forward to too. Because once it's done, you're like, it's good. It's gonna be done soon. It's gonna be this, it's gonna be that. It gets something.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So like a big thing that I was really wrestling through with The Seventh Son is just this idea of like women have to do a certain thing or be a certain way, or just feeling like this pressure of like a system of like, this is how things are done. And just, I'm a really rebellious personality. I hate being told what to do, and I hate being forced to do something a certain way. And I wrestle with that a lot, obviously. And I don't like to be told like I have to do something or you have to be this or you can't. I hate that. And so, especially as a woman, like I have to fight against that, and I have a lot of frustration with that. And so I channeled a lot of that into the book, I think.
Yes, you have to be able to be free to, be who you want to be.
Yeah.
And try to be the best version of yourself, but not be what people, force you into a box to be.
And that's exactly the theme of the story.
That's wonderful.
Be true to who you are, even if other people don't like it.
Yes,
Yes.
I love that. So what has been the hardest thing about publishing, and what has been the most fun?
Oh gosh. Well, one of the hardest things that I think a lot of writers have to get used to is that when you're getting feedback and when you're getting edits about things, it's not a personal attack against you, and it's not about you being a good writer or a bad writer. And I think so many times authors get so wounded, or they get so protective when they receive critique or feedback, because they feel like, oh my gosh, this means I'm a horrible writer, and da 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 da. And just so for me, I really want to encourage writers to make sure you always have a growth mindset going in, is that every writer from J.K. Rowling to Stephen King has an editor.
Yes.
For a reason, and they're there to help make whatever you have better and to help you grow and learn. And it's not meant to put you down or be an attack, or so for me, I had to learn to kind of shift that from the very beginning. I think I would take it personally of like, oh my gosh, they don't think I'm a good writer. But then as I started working with more people, and this was before I got a publishing deal, I learned like, oh my gosh, like they actually have ideas that can make this better, and I can learn and grow from this. And so I think, yeah, that's important, is learning that not to take it personally, but take it as a growth opportunity, as an opportunity to learn and to not be defensive about it, I guess.
Yes. I invited beta readers to read my debut novel, The Beckwith Brothers. It's a YA thriller about teen angst, forbidden romance, secret societies, and murder.
Sign me up.
It's all intertwined when three mysterious brothers return home to their small town Halloween night, 1995. Yeah, I invited beta readers to read it. I was expecting, a lot of critique, a lot of everything, and I was ready for it, right? But they had positive things to say. There was some critique too, but I was like so afraid that I would be crushed by them saying they hated it or something. And I partially understand about, how critique is there to help you, because I worked as an editor and a proofreader for a little while on a website called PinMob. And you join a group of editors and you edit essays for students, or you edit portions of manuscripts all together. And I learned the benefit of constructive criticism. And I learned why we give it. It's to help people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's been the most fun thing about publishing also?
I think the most fun thing was like getting to hold my book in my hands for the first time. Especially like I've always been such a huge fan of Little Women, and I just watched the new movie for the first time last night, and like I loved it. It was so good. But I love the scene where she gets her book made and she's holding, and then she sees her book in person for the first time, and I totally teared up and like looked over at my book, and I was just like, that's how I felt too.
Such a beautiful moment. It's wonderful. And then it's like such fulfillment.
Yeah.
It's
That you work so hard for something and you pour so much of yourself into something, and then to be able to like hold it and see it like physically realized, it's a really surreal experience. And so that's probably been the most fun part for me. It's like, oh my gosh, it's real.
I bet it is. I'm not printing yet, but when I get there, I am going to be so excited.
I think there's a reason why a lot of authors cry when they see it for the first time.
Oh, I should do a reveal when I have my first copy, my first prints in my hands. I'm working on my cover reveal right now. I'm working on the cover. I'm making the cover myself. I do a lot of my business stuff myself.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I do my own book trailers, my own book aesthetics, everything myself. I used to do it for other authors. I still do, but now I can do it myself.
Yeah, that's so exciting.
I'm so glad I can do it for myself. It's like in the middle of the night, I can just work on it and try to perfect it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's revealing in April.
That's exciting.
Thank you. I even organized my own book sticking tour.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you. So what story, do you have stories on the back burner waiting to be written?
I do. I just saw someone ask a question. Hi, Lani, where can I find a signed copy of The Seventh Son? I know I signed a bunch for the Mysterious Galaxy bookstore in San Diego, and they ship. So if you contact Mysterious Galaxy, they might still have some. Or if not, just send me a DM and I can send you a signed book plate because I'm stuck at home and have nothing else to do. So yes, I can send one. I hope that answers your question. So for back burner stuff, I have a lot of stories on the back burner, actually. Like I have a hard time deciding which one to kind of focus in on. But I have one story that is, I really want to do a fantasy Western story that's like kind of like a Western kind of mission era, kind of Zorro, California type, but like a fantasy world that's like based on that. Because I like to make my own worlds. That's my favorite part of writing is I like to create totally new worlds and like draw from things for inspiration, but I want to create my own system, my own world, my own politics, my own religions. Like I want everything like totally my own. And so I want to create like a fantasy world that's based on like mission era California. And I've got this idea that I've been working on, and I sent the first 6 chapters to my agent and she liked it. So I want to hopefully keep going with that one a little bit more as my next one.
Exciting. It's fantastic. I'm going to be hosting a free hosting a free webinar about world building soon. Any information that you would be able to share with me to prepare for that? Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah. That's like my favorite part. And like, that's the one thing that I feel like every like most of my reviews, everything that people say, is like, oh, the world building. And I'm like, that's the greatest compliment you can give me because that's my favorite part.
I'm so glad. We got a DM about that for sure.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited because I'm like, everyone's at home. A lot of authors are at home and everything. And this could be a time that we can just like pour into them and give them virtual promotion, which is why I love doing this interview series. I'm like, let everybody just come on and say hi.
Yes. Oh, thank you. I missed your event in Huntington Beach. Oh, thanks. I wish you could have been there too. We had so much fun, but I'm really glad that you get to come on and say hi here anyway.
Yes, we're so glad you could be here. Let's see. What advice do you think you could give to budding writers out there?
So a big one is just the not be defensive thing is take critique, use it, but at the same time, like take what's helpful to you and kind of like, if it's not helpful or if you don't feel like it helps make your work better, you know, just kind of listen, but like, okay, that's not what I need right now. But read. The biggest thing that I encourage authors to do is read your genre, read what you like to write, but then also read craft books. There's so much help out there and resources out there to improve skill, to improve your craft. And just, I mean, I have like a huge list of books that are like my favorites, and I could like shout them all off right now, but just, yeah, tons of books out there on writing that I recommend.
Word painting. Word painting by Rebecca McMillan or McArthur. That's a really good one.
Okay, yeah.
It's called Word Painting. I know the author's name starts with Rebecca.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it says, what was your last favorite read from one of the authors?
Ooh, okay. So my last favorite read was, where is it? Oh, I can't find it. I loved Serpent and Dove by Shelby Maharan. Oh my gosh, that was incredible. I loved Serpent and Dove. And then I really liked Skyward. I don't want to pull it out. I'm going to like pull all these books down on myself. Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I really enjoyed that one just because I loved the main character. She was hilarious. I don't think I've ever laughed so much while reading a book.
Oh, I'm curious to read that myself now. I've never found a book that made me laugh like out loud. I would love to read that.
Oh, she's hilarious because I don't know, she's like obsessed with like, it's a sci-fi novel, and she's obsessed with like the heroes of old Earth, like Beowulf. And so she talks like she's this epic hero, and she always like makes these random things like, she's like, she'll be standing in a group of people and she's like, I will feast upon the blood of my enemies. And everyone kind of looks at her like, what? And I'm like, I love her.
Thinking. she has that fantastical thinking.
Oh yeah, she's awesome.
That's great. It was, let's see. Oh yes, thank you for your advice on what to tell budding writers. That was fantastic. Thank you.
Oh good, yeah.
Yes, be accepted with a constructive criticism. Because we know where it's coming from. It's coming from trying to be helpful and sculpt the art into the best it can be.
Exactly. I mean, even I have the second book for The Seventh Son finished already, and I got some feedback on it from a couple early beta readers, and at first I was kind of like, oh man, but then I realized like some of the feedback I was getting, I'm like, I can fix that. And I really feel like I am so proud with how the second book turned out because of some of that feedback that I got early on, and it just made it 10 times better. And so looking at it through that lens of like, it doesn't mean you're not a good writer, or it's literally just, no, you can be better, and I know you can be better, and you can do this better, and I'm so happy with how it turned out because I got that criticism. So
it's like,
yeah,
it's like I could do this. No, I can't.
I can fix it.
That's great. So when you were first publishing, what stood out to you the most? What form of publishing stood out to you the most? Traditional, self-publishing, hybrid, or indie?
I don't know. I was kind of always attracted to the traditional publishing model. I like the idea of having an agent to kind of work with alongside of you and to kind of be your champion and to kind of help be that person that helps you navigate through the publishing world. And my agent is absolutely incredible, and she has been incredible through the whole process. And there's so many times where I can like email her and be like, what do I do? And she's like, okay, let me call you. We're gonna figure this out.
Like having a teammate.
Yeah, so just having that other person that knows a lot more about the industry and knows a lot more than I do, and just so that she can be that resource to reach out to, I've really appreciated that. And so having an agent was a big deal for me. I really wanted to make sure that I had that person on my side.
That's so lovely. That's wonderful. That is fantastic. I'm pursuing self-publishing or hybrid publishing.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the indie publishers I've contacted get back to me. So I'm working on that and working on my publicity tour and everything. So yes, don't have a teammate. It would be nice to have one though.
Yeah, but you said even a lot of traditionally published authors now are having to do a lot of their own kind of marketing stuff too. So I think, yeah, even I'm part of Romance Writers of America, my little local chapter, and some of those women, I just am in awe of how they self-publish or they indie publish, and I just am in awe of their careers and look up to them so much. So I have a ton of respect for both sides, because I feel like you have to put a lot of work into do indie publishing. It's a lot.
Yeah. So what was your ultimate publishing goal, if you can share? Like, in a perfect world, what would publishing lead to for you?
This is like the weirdest, most random goal in the world, but I want to see my book in Target.
Awesome.
That's like my dream. I'm like, I don't care about anything else. I just want to see my book on a Target bookshelf. Even if I have to like take it in there and like put it on the bookshelf myself for a second, and I'd be like, look, it's there.
There's actually an author. He's I forget his name. I don't even remember his name. But what he used to do, amazingly, he used to take stacks of his books and actually put it on the shelves in Barnes and Noble. He would have a barcode on it, and what he would do was he would allow them to sell it. They wouldn't even know that it wasn't like part of their system apparently until they rung it up, and he would profit. But he would be able to take pictures of his book in Barnes and Noble, like I'm in Barnes and Noble.
I think I might do that with Target. My book's on Target online, but I don't have but I want to see one of my books in a Target on the shelf. That is like my dream in life.
Yes, exactly. That'd be fantastic.
It's a random one, but that's if I'm honest, that's my dream.
Okay, that is perfectly fine. I'm looking into consignment at the airports, but now that the airports are empty, that doesn't really help.
That's true. Yeah, at an airport. That's another one of my dreams, is to see my book at an airport.
Yes, I hear that the man, the author, who I can't think of the name of, who said that he put his books in Barnes and Noble, even though he wasn't assigned to Barnes and Noble to be distributed. He also he pursued consignment books. He pursued putting his books in the airport bookstores. That way, it will be international audiences.
Oh,
yeah. So he kind of found a way to get his book around the world.
That's smart. That's creative.
Very strategic author. I learned a lot from him. Okay, here is our last question.
Okay.
I've enjoyed interviewing you so much.
Oh, thank you.
It's very fun. When this interview is over, also, I'm as long as Instagram functions correctly, because sometimes it does not, the interview will save onto my Instagram account, but only for 24 hours. So it's recorded so that I can post it on my YouTube channel where it can stay.
Oh, perfect. Awesome.
Yes. So as long as when I end the interview, it saves, which hopefully, ideally it would, I will be DMing you the link to the YouTube post of this interview.
Oh, perfect.
Okay.
Yay, thank you.
Definitely. This has been so wonderful. Okay. Here's the last question. How can we find out more about you and the seventh son?
I do have an author website, so my website is really hard. It's LaniForbes.com.
Wow.
One of the benefits of having kind of a different first name is that a lot of stuff's not taken for it. So my Instagram handle is just @LaniForbes. My Twitter handle's @LaniForbes, and my website is literally LaniForbes.com. So
Awesome. I am putting it into the comments. That way, I am my Forbes into the P. Alrighty. I am putting everything into the comments because I will be the last comment on here, which means the whole time the video is recording, your information will be up on the screen.
Oh, that's cool. So yeah, I've got my website has I have some blog posts on there. Like part of my research I did for the book was traveling down to Guatemala and Belize, and so I did like a blog post about one of the cool things that I got to do while I was down there for research. I also have like a pronunciation guide for some of the names. I've got the map for the empire. And then plus just some interviews and different things. So like when you send me the link, I'll probably put the link to the interview up on the website too. So
Yay!
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I am going to definitely keep up everything about the seventh son, continue posting all updates and all cool stuff about it. And we'll DM about the world building thing.
Yes, please. That's like I said, that's my favorite stuff. I geek out about that. I'm like, world building, yes. Okay.
We'll link together at just the right time. Perfect.
Yes.
Good time. For such a time as this.
Yes, for such a time as this.
Well, thank you so much. And have a wonderful day. And everyone stay safe, healthy, and happy.
Yes. Stay safe, stay healthy, and take care of, staying inside. So
it's for the safety of us all.
Exactly.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That was so fun.
It was fun.